This week on the Digital Marketing Scoop, we're discussing how to repurpose your content to increase your brand awareness, engagement, and impact on social media. That's all ahead on this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. This week we're talking about content and using your content across lots of different platforms. So taking one piece of content, whether it be video, a blog, a podcast, and using that piece of content to basically create more content across all the different platforms. So Jen, the first one we're looking at here are blogs. So what kind of ways can we take our blog posts and turn that into different mediums?
There's so many ways. So first of all, to start with a blog is usually the best way to kind of go about how you're going to repurpose content. I mean, you can reuse those, you can publish them on LinkedIn articles, you can create infographics from them, you can turn, say if you've been blogging for a while, you can take a look at all of your most popular blog posts and kind of formulate maybe a white paper from those, because you know that content is working well. You can turn it into a presentation, turn it into a video. I mean, there's so many different routes you can take with it. It's great. So if you have a solid blog post that's performing well, I would definitely think about pulling the data from it, going in down the infographic road. You've got another piece of content for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, because sometimes, I mean, a lot of work goes into a blog post in particular, because you're going to sit down, you're going to be writing for a couple of hours for the most part, usually. And you're going to have all your keyword research. You're going to have there's a lot of work that'll go into your blog post before you even post that. So maximizing the most you can get out of a blog post is a great starting point for repurposing content, especially.
Absolutely. And I suppose as well, it's always good to you can take your long form blog posts and chop them up into smaller bits of content as well that you can drip feed out through social media, through LinkedIn, and through different platforms as well. Yeah,
definitely. Especially if you've got like questions and answers within the blog post as well. I mean, you can always put up a LinkedIn post saying, we often get asked this question, here's a little bit of the answer and stuff. I mean, there's so many ways to repurpose your blogs, but just make sure that you're using the ones that are performing well.
Yeah.
Because that's where they're going to perform well when they're repurposed as well.
And I always think a great way to get ideas for great blog posts is to just go to Google and type in like questions related to your topic.
Yeah.
And then it's like suggested, the suggested terms that it drops down, you'll have, okay, this is what people are searching for. This is what I want to be able to answer for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the next kind of thing we're looking at is internal data. So things like case studies, testimonials. So if let's say you go off and you did a video testimonial with a client, what kind of ways do you think we could take that video testimonial and repurpose it for content on different platforms?
Well, I mean, you're going to use the video as the primary source, especially for testimonials. But I mean, these things can go out. I mean, say if you have a great testimonial, you can take snippets of that testimonial, the one or two great sentences that are always great people to work with, the usual kind of bits. You can overlay those in other images, videos, texts. I mean, if you're putting out another video about a topic that client worked with you on, or a product or service, at the end of that video, you can snip it in a little part of that other video and just kind of say, and look, this is what the client says about it as well. It's all about kind of, you can, just as much as repurposing, it's a little bit of a mix and match. Think of it as your wardrobe every day. You know, you're just going to pull a little bit from here, mash it all together, and it'll work for the most part.
Yeah. One way I love to use them as well is in their long form, actually placing them into our proposals.
Yeah.
So at the end of our proposal, maybe the client hasn't met us before, whatever it might be, that they've got a testimonial from one of our clients right there, and then of course it's a lot stronger, a testimonial from a customer versus you kind of saying, talking about your business.
Yeah.
I think a great way with testimonials as well is chop them up into little Instagram stories and then use retargeting, because you're going to get nice cheap ads on Instagram. If you've had that person on your website, get those testimonials right in front of them on their Instagram stories, and so really clever and cheap way to get your testimonials in front of people who've been already looking at your products and services.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. I mean, internal data for the most part can bring about a lot of information that people don't think about. I mean, if you work for a company and you regularly do presentations, there's no reason why those presentations can't be adapted for a public audience. Change them to PDFs and upload them to LinkedIn. You can do slides, even just screen grab the images of them, and you can reuse them on Twitter. You can reuse them on Instagram, so long as they're somewhat visually pleasing. Yeah. But there's so many ways, and then internal data especially will put you as kind of, it's information you see in front of you every day, and sometimes you think that that's just your normal information. You don't think anything special of it, but actually, to the outside world, they're looking for you for that information. They're looking to, so you actually probably have a much bigger bank of information than you think.
Yeah, it could be really valuable to other people. It's just because you're seeing it every day, you think it's sure everybody knows that, but they don't. Yeah. I think we find that a lot in our industry as well. You talking we could be talking in kind of more technical speak and don't realize that, and this goes for lots of different industries where you're talking really technical speak, whether it be in a blog post or anything. Yeah. And you should start breaking them down and simplifying and making it easier and easier and easier. And again, that's a way to get like multiple pieces of content from one thing. You could write it for different audiences.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even little things that we say all the time, like PPC or CPC, just pay-per-click, and people don't know what we're talking about 100%. Sometimes, and you'd forget, you really would.
So the next thing we're looking at is podcasts. So obviously this is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So I suppose what we're doing is we're filming our podcasts.
Yeah.
And we're going to repurpose them on YouTube. We're going to have them on Instagram. We're going to have them on Facebook. We're going to have them on LinkedIn. Obviously the long form, so the full podcast will be on YouTube. But on kind of places like probably Facebook as well, I think we'll distribute the full long form. But on Instagram, we'll just cut out like really valuable snippets from the podcast and then push them across Instagram and LinkedIn.
Exactly. And I mean, like we will, like last week now, we took out a little snippet and we put it out as a teaser on the Wednesday, and then when we launched the podcast on Thursday, we put out a little bit of a longer snippet. And like, the videos can be repurposed in so many ways. I mean, you can take your little snippets out, same as I was talking about with the testimonials. You can take your key little bits of information here and there. But like another great thing is like shorten them right down, make little GIFs out of them, push them out on Twitter, you can literally think of every single second of your video as something that you can spin out. GIF. A potential GIF or meme.
Fantastic. So if you're doing stuff like that, what kind of what tools should we be looking at that are going to make it easy for people to start editing video or to start chopping it up and distribute it?
Well, we use Wondershare Filmora in-house, and that is just an absolute treat, whether it comes to podcasts or videos at the moment. It's a really easy tool to just chop, cut, and push together again and everything. But when there's loads of tools out there. I mean, if you just even did one Google search of whatever you need, it's out there. I mean, whether it be transcribing, accents are tough for the Irish audience. In fairness, your transcription services aren't going to be the best. But you can get transcriptions. You can strip the audio from videos. You can, whatever part of what you've created you need can definitely be pulled out of it or pushed. Yeah.
I suppose that's one thing we didn't mention actually. So from like your videos or your podcasts, you can, within reason, have them automatically transcribed and then turned into blog posts and articles.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, if you started with a video, we'll say, you strip the audio, that's your podcast, or little snippets of audio that I think are really underused actually. You don't often see just snippets of audio, but they can be used. I mean, you can just attach them to an image and it's a short little video. You just tell someone to turn the sound on. Now, when you push out videos, definitely 100% use subtitles, and because 80% of people are not going to be listening with the sound on anyway. So, I mean, strip the sound, strip everything from it, and all of a sudden you've got a full array of things that you can kind of pull and pick and choose from. And that's really important, especially if you have a small budget, because your one piece of content is stretching much further than someone with a bigger budget that can do
absolutely.
20 videos or 20 blogs and outsource it all. And,
So I guess our takeaway from this week is that if you are producing content at the moment, whether it's a video, podcast, blog post, think about the different ways you can take that existing content and turn it into content for different platforms or content to distribute through different mediums, because chances are you're going to be able to get a lot more from that content than I suppose you initially thought
exactly.
you could.
And think about it from the start. I mean, as soon as you think of, say, you have a product and you're like, right, I need product photos, take the first photo at least against a plain white background, so you'll be able to Photoshop in whatever you want for the next 6 months, or you can manipulate it much easier. I think it's just a matter of thinking smart at the start and going, right, how can I strip this apart afterwards and have plenty of content for the week, month.
Brilliant. Sounds good. That has been this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop.
Bye.